Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Cynthia Talbot, and I'm a member of your Board of Trustees. Whatever your reason, whatever your worldview or spiritual tradition, age, race, gender identity, sexual orientation, financial means, physical ability, political affiliation, or immigration status, you are welcome here. Newcomers, please complete an online visitor information card to connect with us. See the chat or the seat pocket in front of you. Each week, children ages 0 to 3 are welcome here in the sanctuary or in the nursery in the fellowship hall. Children ages 4 through 5th grade are invited to join the Explorers group by signing in at the Welcome Wagon, and then will be invited to their room later in the service. Youth 6th through 12th grade are invited to remain in the service. For our announcements, we will be having a building cleanup day or days on Friday, July 24th from 10 to 4 p.m. and Saturday, June 25th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Anyone who can help us clean up, organize, and move the heavy things around on those days would be greatly appreciated. Please see Linda or me about the cleanup. Also, Denton Cups, which is me and John Beckett, will be teaching an intermediate paganism class here on Saturday, July 25th at 2 p.m. See me if you have any questions, or just stay after the cleanup and come to that too. After worship today, please join us in the fellowship hall through this door for coffee and conversation. Everyone is welcome to join us for lunch bunch today at 11:22 at Mr. Chopstick's. Our Religious Education Committee is meeting next Sunday, July 19th, after the service. If you are curious about volunteering with our youth, please see Jordan or our lead teacher and attend. Today, we welcome back Reverend Lora Brandis to the pulpit. Reverend Lora is a community minister who provides preaching to local congregations and serves as an on-call hospital chaplain. She is also a certified spiritual director. 2 days a week, she and her husband, Frank, take care of twin grandchildren, Rose and James. Lora previously served congregations in Utah, Idaho, California, and Texas. Welcome back, Reverend Lora. Now, let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
Please hear these words of the Reverend William Sinkford as your call to worship. We are a gentle and generous people, but let us not forget our anger. May it fuel not only our commitment to compassion, but also our commitment to make fundamental changes. Our vision of the beloved community must stand against a vision that would allow the privilege of the few to be accepted as just and even holy. Our religious vision must again and again ask, who is my neighbor? And strive always to include more and more of us. As we intone the words that gave birth to this nation, we, the people, we are, and we should be, both a gentle and an angry people. And now invite Sandy to come and light our chalice. Oh, it went out. Take it over. Light this one. Okay. As we intone the words that gave birth to this nation, we the people, we are and we should be both a gentle and an angry people. And as we continue to light the chalice, let's rise in body or in spirit and sing, "We Are a Gentle, Angry People," verses 1, 2, 5, and 6. I don't know if we have any kids who want to come forward and sit on the rug for the story. You are certainly welcome to stay at your seat. This is a story for everybody. Okay. This is the story of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Oh, we always have, okay, good. That's right. Yeah, we always see, there's kids, there's young at heart, there's, yeah, come on down. So this is the story of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, Bends the Arc by Jessica York. Sometimes freedom is a long time coming. It may take generations upon generations for justice to be won. Our Unitarian ancestor, Reverend Theodore Parker, said, "I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. From what I see, I am sure it bends toward justice." Frances Ellen Watkins Harper was born a free black woman in Baltimore, Maryland in 1825. She was raised in the household of her uncle, an educator and African Methodist Episcopal AME minister. He was also an abolitionist, a person who worked to end slavery. Harper followed in her uncle's footsteps to become an educator and abolitionist. She also became a writer, publishing her first book of poetry at 20, and publishing the first short story by an African-American woman later in life. Her writing often urged blacks, women, and people in oppressed groups to take a firm stand for equality. In 1850, the Fugitive Slave Act was passed. It became dangerous to be a free black in Maryland because slave owners could claim black people were runaway slaves and force them into slavery. So Harper moved farther north to Ohio and then to Philadelphia. She taught, ran part of the Underground Railroad, and lectured around the country to bend the arc toward justice for African Americans. In 1863, abolitionists celebrated success with the passage of the Emancipation Proclamation. It did not immediately create a world where African Americans were treated equally and fairly, but it did make slavery illegal. Harper saw that there was still work to be done. She put her hand toward women's civil rights, in particular the rights of black women and the right of all women to vote. She co-founded the National Association of Colored Women. Again, she toured and lectured on the topic of freedom. Her lectures and writings spoke to the need for women to be free, to be more than wives and mothers. She understood what she was talking about, a mother herself. After her husband died, Frances Harper took her daughter with her on lecture tours. During her justice work, Harper met many Unitarians also working to bend the arc. She felt at home with our liberal religious beliefs and knew that her work could strengthen the justice work of the Unitarians. She joined hands with them by joining the First Unitarian Church in Philadelphia in 1870. She frequently read her poetry from the pulpit at this church, yet she kept her membership and taught Sunday school at an AME church too. Harper died in 1911, before the 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote in 1919. This was a cause she worked hard to bring about. Yet, Harper understood that her labors might bring about freedoms she would never enjoy. She said, "Apparent failure may hold in its rough shell the germs of a success that will blossom in time and bear fruit throughout eternity." Some of the fruits of Harper's labor and the labor of other Unitarian Universalists are enjoyed by us today, yet we are not done. We are all needed to help bend the arc of the universe towards justice. And now we light the children's chalice. Who would like to light the chalice today? Oh, I thought Jordan might want to. And we have the safety one for you, Jordan, so you just turn it on, because we want you to be safe. And we'll say together the words in the order of service. This is our chalice of love and light, uniting youths by day and night. So we actually have lit a flame. Okay, but you'd have to take this with you. Take that with you. Okay. Usually, there's a long line of children following Jordan, but it is summer, we know that. So let's sing Jordan or anyone else out of
May your minds be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your hearts know love as your hands to the work of justice. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes during this time, go ahead and do that. You can also just close them slightly, finding a place and a way to focus so that you're turned inward, but not away, that you're staying present to this moment, here and now. Breathe with me. And know that as we listen to the joys and the sorrows here in this room, we know that there are joys and sorrows in the world, and we are listening to those as well. There is so much to carry these days, and so it is good to come together and to connect with each other and to share the joy of Judy's project, the joy of Jordan working with all our kids and the birthdays and the journeys and the accomplishments and the travels. All of that, it is good to connect in community. And of course, we hold each other in our concerns and our sorrows, in our health issues, and in our losses, in our injuries, in our need for each other. As we work to bend the arc of the universe towards justice, we cannot do this alone. We have our lives to live, and we have our lives to live for each other and for the world. And all of that can feel really, really heavy right now. And so coming here, listening for joy and sorrow, knowing that they are intertwined, we, with gratitude, gather in thanks for this community and thanks for our time together. Breathing together, we spend a moment of silence, breathing and connecting, becoming one body. Breathing and becoming present to this moment now, breathing and remembering how much we are connected to each other and to a world that needs us now more than ever. Breathing, being present, listening. Blessed be, and amen.
From President Obama's remarks at the opening of the Obama Presidential Center. One of the things a lot of presidential libraries now have in common is a replica of the Oval Office. And if you take a peek at the one inside this building, you will see some objects that carried some special meaning for me during my time I was in office. On the rug, you read the words from some of America's greatest leaders, including a quote that inspired the arch that you see right here at the south end of the plaza by Theodore Parker. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. It's a quote that was often invoked by Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., but it originally comes from a Boston minister's sermon more than 170 years ago. At that time, the abolitionist cause seemed lost. The Compromise of 1850 had made harboring fugitive slaves a crime under federal law, even in those states that had abolished slavery. And in a case that garnered national attention, a young fugitive in Boston had been seized and tried and marched to the wharf by hundreds of armed officers, where he was summarily put on a ship bound for the South, where he would remain in shackles and chains. It was a moment of profound uncertainty and despair, a moment the minister called darker than any New England had ever witnessed. We do not see, Reverend Theodore Parker observed, that justice is always done on earth. Many a knave is rich, sleek, and honored, while the just poor man is poor, hated, and in torment. I do not pretend, the preacher said, to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by the experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience, but from what I see, I am sure it bends towards justice. The good Reverend was under no illusions about the perils and obstacles facing the abolitionist cause. His words offered no easy answers, no comforting assurances that he or his congregation would live to see the progress they so desperately sought. Rather, his was a declaration of faith, a defiant call not to abandon hope or give way to fear, but to stand true to our better selves and true to one another, and to keep fighting to fulfill the promise of this nation, even in the face of cruelty and bitter disappointment, even in the face of impossible odds. Please rise in body or spirit for hymn number 113 in the gray hymnal, Where is Our Holy Church?
The second reading is an excerpt from the poem On the Pulse of Morning by Maya Angelou. It was written for President Bill Clinton's 1993 inauguration, and it is a call for unity, peace, and a new beginning for America and the world. Angelou, just to mention, was the first African American and woman to deliver a poem at a U.S. presidential inauguration. History, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again. Lift up your eyes upon this day breaking for you. Give birth again to the dream. Women, children, men, take it into the palms of your hands. Mold it into the shape of your most private need. Sculpt it into the image of your most public self. Lift up your hearts. Each new hour holds new chances for a new beginning. Do not be wedded forever to fear, yoked eternally to brutishness. The horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps of change. Here, on the pulse of this fine day, you may have the courage to look up and out, and upon me, the rock, the river, the tree, your country. No less to Midas than the mendicant, no less to you now than the mastodon then. Here, on the pulse of this new day, you may have the grace to look up and out and into your sister's eyes and into your brother's face, your country, and say simply, very simply, with hope, good morning.
Each week, we pass 2 baskets, one for this community and one for the larger community. Our second offering recipient for July is United Through Hope. United Through HOPE, Helping Others Progress and Excel, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization started in 2012 to help individuals build social skills and confidence with resources and programs available in person, online, and via social media. United Through Hope offers children and adults training that develops a range of skills like socializing, life management, job readiness, fiscal responsibility, and independent living. United Through Hope has 2 physical locations, one in Denton and one in Frisco. Both locations are renovated homes that provide a naturalistic atmosphere. United Through Hope's programs are available to 1st through 5th graders, teens, and adults, and the organization offers adjunct services such as counseling, behavioral consultation, and special education planning alongside the community that can be a crucial support to people navigating transitions in their lives successfully. Please see the order of service or the chat for ways to give. The offering is now gratefully received.
Feel
I recently traveled to Chicago with my husband and my sister. We were supposed to take this trip last year, but postponed it because of my brother-in-law's illness. As many of you know, my brother-in-law died last August. We rescheduled the trip without knowing we had rescheduled it to just a few days after the Obama Presidential Center opened. This could be a sermon about where the arc of our lives takes us, but I may save that for another time. It was a trip that did remind us that sometimes the arc of our lives takes us to places we never expect to go. But that's another sermon. This is a sermon about how the larger arc of the universe is long, and how we find our place in the long line of people who have put their hands on the arc and moved it towards justice. Most Unitarian Universalists know that Unitarian Minister Theodore Parker first said this in the 19th century. "I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by the experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience. But from what I see, I am sure it bends towards justice." Now, Theodore Parker had a large congregation, like 3,000, which I know. We don't do that anymore, but he did in the 19th century. And then when he published a collection of his sermons in 1853, even more people heard him say those prophetic words. One of the most told stories about Reverend Parker, a well-known abolitionist, is how he kept a loaded pistol on the pulpit and publicly declared he would shoot anyone who tried to forcibly remove blacks from his congregation. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism or did not know the quote originated with Parker, you have probably heard the adapted version attributed to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." President Obama often quoted King, and as he said in his opening remarks to his presidential center, he put the quote on the rug in the Oval Office. Now, during his presidency, he always attributed it to King, as far as I remember, because I remember hearing it and going, and so I would correct it every chance I got. It is a quote and a concept that helps explain who we are as a religion. And that explanation sometimes is a task that is complicated and gets complicated by context. A task that can be complicated by what part of the country you're in. If you're in Boston, almost everyone knows what a Unitarian or a Universalist or a Unitarian Universalist is. In Texas, not as much. In Utah and Idaho, where I served my first ministry, not as much. So when I was asked to deliver the benediction for the annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day worship service in Pocatello, Idaho in 2011, I embraced it as an opportunity to declare my religious identity among Mormons, Methodists, and Muslims. There was an LDS prayer for peace and justice, a Baha'i prayer for peace, a Muslim prayer for peace, a Christian and a Jewish prayer for peace. The sermon was delivered by a Hispanic member of the Too Great for Hate organization, an interfaith organization founded when propaganda promoting white supremacy started showing up at the local university and high school. The I Have a Dream speech was delivered by an African-American gay man. The gathered community in Pocatello, Idaho, was diverse, driven, and committed. They knew what it meant to help bend the arc toward justice. So here's the benediction I used that day and have used a few times since then. As a benediction, I bring you the words of President Barack Obama, quoting Martin Luther King Jr., quoting 19th century Unitarian Minister Theodore Parker. Dr. King once said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. It bends towards justice. But here is the thing, President Obama used to say. It does not bend on its own. It bends because each of us in our own ways put our hand on that arc and we bend it in the direction of justice. Go forth from this place with your hands firmly placed on the arc of the moral universe. I am confident that that's what each and every one of that day's participants did. I am confident that they are still standing shoulder to shoulder, placing their hands firmly on the arc of the moral universe. It is easy to get discouraged. It is easy to lose our place and let go of the long arc as it bends toward justice. Our visit to the Obama Presidential Center was a reminder to hold on, a reminder that we are bending the arc towards results we will not see. And there's a piece of that arc looking toward that beautiful new museum, just a bit of it. And it's artwork by Martin Puryear. I want you to know that. So in his remarks for the opening of his presidential center, Obama did mention Theodore Parker. He put the quote in its original context of the Fugitive Slave Act. And as we heard in the reading from Sandy, a young fugitive in Boston had been seized and sent back south, where he would remain in shackles and chains. It was a moment of profound uncertainty and despair, a moment the minister called darker than any New England had witnessed, Obama said. In that moment of despair, Parker wrote the words that have echoed down the centuries. In his remarks, Obama went on to say, the good Reverend was under no illusions about the perils and obstacles facing the abolitionist cause. His words offered no easy answers, no comforting assurances that he or his congregation would live to see the progress they so desperately sought. Rather, his was a declaration of faith, a defiant call not to abandon hope or give way to fear, but to stay true to our better selves and true to one another, and to keep fighting to fulfill the promise of this nation, even in the face of cruelty and bitter disappointment, even in the face of impossible odds. Theodore Parker died before he could see his abolitionist efforts come to fruition. Yet, his words remain. The words of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper also remain, but scholars had to discover her and make sure her words would remain. She is quoted at the Obama Presidential Center with these words, "Justice is not fulfilled so long as woman is unequal before the law. We are all bound up together in one great bundle of humanity." I don't know this, but boy, that sounds like Martin Luther King Jr. may have used her words too. I mean, it's so interesting to me, the influence there. We are all bound up together in one great bundle of humanity is very similar to what he used to say, because it's true. The center's exhibits recognize that President and Mrs. Obama's story was made possible by those who came before them. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper is featured in the section in the museum called Toward a More Perfect Union. And this is a section that contains artifacts and stories from historic civil and workers' rights movements that shaped the Obama's values and paved the way for the 2008 election. An often told story about Frances Ellen Watkins Harper is about her powerful speaking on abolition and women's, about how powerful her public speaking on abolition and women's suffrage was. It was so powerful that some in the audience, demonstrating the extreme stereotypes of the time, refused to believe she was an African-American woman. Instead, they claimed she was a man, or possibly a white woman in disguise. Like Parker, Harper's words echo through the centuries. Unlike Parker, Harper's words were mostly forgotten until the 1960s, when African-American Unitarian Universalists, inspired by recent scholarship, realized she had not been given proper recognition. She was born a free black woman in Baltimore, Maryland in 1825. She was forced to leave Maryland when the Fugitive Slave Act was passed. She taught, ran part of the Underground Railroad, and lectured around the country. She joined the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia in 1870 and kept her membership in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Harper died in 1911, before the 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote in 1919. It was believed that Harper had been buried in an unmarked grave. So, in 1992, a coalition was created to celebrate her life and work by dedicating a headstone at her grave. As the workers prepared the ground, they discovered an old headstone for Harper that no one had known about. Seeing the old ornate headstone next to a new simple headstone made from African marble, one coalition member remarked how finding the old buried marker was symbolic of resurrecting Harper's work. And now, more than a century after her death, Frances Ellen Watkins Harper is acknowledged in a museum that celebrates the first African-American president and his wife as inheritors of her vision. A vision stated clearly in her own words. Apparent failure may hold in its rough shell the germs of a success that will blossom in time and bear fruit throughout eternity. Apparent failure feels familiar. A moment of profound uncertainty and despair, the words of Theodore Parker, also feel familiar right now. On the morning of July 7th, an ICE officer fatally shot Lorenzo Salgado Araujo as he drove his construction crew to a Houston job site. The Department of Homeland Security said the officers were looking for someone else when they attempted to stop Salgado Araujo's vehicle. They have said that he rammed an ICE vehicle and that an officer opened fire in self-defense. There have been protests and calls for an independent investigation. This is also very familiar right now. Lorenzo was a family man who started his own construction business in the Houston suburbs. He had no criminal record. PBS reports that his son said he was a quiet man who left for work at sunrise and loved to pet his dog and sit on his porch listening to music. That's how I want the world to know my father, not as someone who got shot and killed, but as a family man, a man who understood that good things come to those who put in hard work, his son said. It is easy to get discouraged. It is easy to lose our place and let go of the long arc as it bends towards justice. I like to think that President Obama finally mentioned Theodore Parker's original quote because he understands how that time during our nation's history resonates to the time we are experiencing now. It was a moment of profound uncertainty and despair, a moment the minister called darker than any New England had witnessed, Obama said. Obama also said that it was Parker's declaration of faith, a defiant call not to abandon hope or give way to fear. It was Parker's declaration of faith, and it is also ours. Oh, there it is, the full arc. When I lived in Idaho and Utah, I had a rehearsed elevator speech that I used when people asked about Unitarian Universalism. You know what an elevator speech is, right? Okay. Have you created one for Unitarian Universalism? No? We should talk about that. But but let me tell you what I developed when I lived in Mormon country. I would connect our religion to the founding of America as a place for religious freedom. This was a message I knew Mormons would understand. But back in Texas, I have a different elevator speech now. This is what I say. We believe there are many paths to the holy. No one is outside the circle of love, and we are obligated to leave the world a better place than how we found it. Now that I've seen the arc, I think I will revise my elevator speech. I will still say, we believe there are many paths to the holy. No one is outside the circle of love. And we believe that the arc of the universe bends towards justice when each of us puts our hand on that arc and bends it in the direction of justice. May it be so, and amen. Please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, number 1014 in the Teal Hymnal, Answering the Call of Love.
Truth in our hearts.
standing as we join in the unison words for extinguishing the chalice. Here they come. There they are. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. For the benediction, I could use the benediction that I created so many years ago, but I'm not going to, because I want to share these words, more words, from Theodore Parker. Be ours our religion, which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple, all space, its shrine, the good heart, its creed, all truth, its ritual, works of love, its profession of faith, divine living. Go in peace, blessed be, and amen.